Welcome to the SWIKE podcast, the only podcast that shares the stuff you didn't know you needed to know about jobs, careers, and life. The SWIKE podcast, the stuff I wish I knew earlier.
Let's talk about maybe the first term, how it went, your experience in terms of academics or making friends.
So for
Uh,
me, yeah, after Frosh, it was yeah, that I don't really remember kind of the first days, but it was kind of going to class, trying to meet up with those friends that I met in that time, and I think I mentioned, well, we didn't have like social media or the internet or Wi-Fi and stuff like that, right? So we communicated by pager or cell phone if any of us were able to do that. And for those that don't know what a pager is, it's kind of a little like a little box that you put in like numbers there, and it kind of beeps. And what you're supposed to do is call numbers from a payphone. And I don't even know if payphones still exist around too, but they used to be a thing. And yeah, and sometimes you could actually type through numbers on the cell phone, right? Because you like a three is like an E, and like a seven is an L, and people got creative with the um, other words so that you can kind of say, okay, let's meet here, let's meet there at a given time. So it was a little bit more advanced planning that was needed in order to coordinate meeting, right? Because it's not as spontaneous as saying, hey, let's just meet here, and you can check email, text, or whatever, WhatsApp, and you show up, right? Didn't have any of that. So yeah, like I said, I connected with that same group of friends kind of in that first semester. Spent probably too much time with them, right? Because I saw my grades plummeting quite a bit because I would minimally go to class, but I wouldn't do much in between, right? I didn't really do my assignments. I thought I was like super smart, and yeah, I could get through this no problem. But without studying or actually knowing the material, it gets hard to do exams and assignments and stuff. So actually, like in all honesty, I almost failed out of my first year, right? So first term was a big wake up call to kind of focus on what's important. So I went to school for class, right, to learn, right. So I should be doing more and more of that. Um, yeah, so that was kind of the first semester where probably spent too much time on kind of fitting in and finding people that I wanted to be around. A little, well, I spent time in class, but very little time on homework and assignments and stuff, which is obviously a bad thing, right? Because sometimes just showing up to class, you don't automatically learn through osmosis or whatever. You actually should take the time to recall and remember and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so it was a relatively tough time for me. But yeah, eventually in kind of second year onwards, so I kind of picked myself up in the second term of first year, and then was pretty depressed, as unfortunately many students are. And then second year, somehow I was able to turn it around. Maybe it was over the summer and hanging out with friends or whatever, or just maybe time by myself, and I was able to kind of recoup and then focus more on school and grow, right? So I had a pretty boring first year, second semester. The first year, first semester, yeah, I was figuring stuff out. Yeah, just had a new girlfriend, trying to make more friends and stuff like that. uh Dealing with all those sorts of things. But yeah, I can't imagine kind of doing all that with social media, right? So having all that, because I know the students growing up in this day and age, they have so many additional pressures, right? Because people are posting, people are tweeting, people are Instagramming or whatever. And yeah, there's so many different pressures of folks. So yeah, that was my experience. How was yours?
well, those are some different words which I've never heard of, such as pager or payphone. Thanks for introducing them to me. But yeah, I feel technology has given a boost in terms of um, getting to know more people. Like, I feel it's one of the biggest factors when it comes to knowing what our friends are up to. Even if they aren't super close to us, we can yet know where they are and what they're doing from their stories. And I feel like Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook are the most common used um, apps right now for
Right.
people to connect. And that's one way wherein I can yet be updated about the people who I'm yet not close to since Frosh. and because I can see what they're doing, and maybe strike a conversation then, and if I need some help, I can easily reach out to them instead of actually finding their number in the phone book or trying to bump into them at the campus or something like that.
And I've
So
heard that folks also create like groups for like classes that they're taking, to share like notes and things like that. And how big of is that in a factor in terms of like staying connected with the campus and like building friendships and stuff like that? Or is that more just like a transactional marketplace where like you give me my notes and for this and that, or do people actually leverage it to like build friends and stuff like that?
I feel I kind of agree with you that recently there has been, even I've come across many groups on Messenger wherein everyone is trying to help out everyone. So it's not only to build a friendship. It's like you're doing both the things at once. You're also helping out other people. You are getting help from other people, and you're also, when you swap notes, or if you don't understand something, some other person on the group can explain the, the answer to you, and the logic to you, and therefore, by that you're also building on upon a friendship with them.
Right.
So I feel it's a great way to again get to know more people.
And
But
is it like just based on pure luck where you stumble across the person in your class that's organizing these things, or is there like a set place where people kind of do this, or do you just kind of search online for like the course code and hope you can find a Facebook group with it, or because yeah, I can't imagine Instagram doing that or Snapchat. And then WhatsApp is pretty closed in terms of like you need to know people. You can't like search for these groups on that. So I would imagine it's Facebook where a lot of this stuff is happening.
so there are a few big groups on Facebook wherein they have like more than 5,000 people in them,
Hmm.
and wherein if you want to be added on, let's say, a group chat for an accounting course, so you go on the group and you type, "I'm looking for a group chat for this course." You type the course code, and then you make a post, and then there will be many others who would also want to get who are also looking for the same accounting group, and who continue the thread in the comments. And there are and whoever is the admin of the accounting group generally, or whoever are the members of the accounting group on Facebook, they go and they add everyone in. So in that way, everyone's super helpful. They're always willing to guide everyone. And on Messenger there are already notes from the previous sessions, so you have access to more resources once you're in the group. um, so yeah, I feel that is a great advancement in technology, great example of advancement in technology.
Cool.
And
It sounds like
yes,
leveraging technology to help folks in their studies and their getting to know each other in the first year can be helpful. So, what other recommendations, what other SWIKE would you have for folks in their kind of first year, first term, first few days in university? What are some of the suggestions you'd have for folks?
I feel like I had to go through a lot because I was in one of the most competitive programs, the double degree, wherein one degree was in finance and one was in stats. So I took statistics courses in my first year, while my other friends took finance courses in the first year, like the basic management course in the first year. Um, and I took the statistics courses, which were meant to be taken in the second year, because I took it up as a challenge. I was like, let's conquer it. But there were several other factors, such as uh, homesickness, and there were many other factors, including because I had never been acquainted to live alone and do everything independently. And all those factors just came together, and that plummeted my grade in the first semester, including when I actually went on and asked suggestions from many people as to what are some bird courses. So bird courses are
Right.
courses which are an easy 4.0, but when I asked people and when I searched for them, I got enrolled into them, but actually they weren't bird courses at all. They were, it required so much of, I had to put in so much of efforts into them. And the first sem was a complete mess for me, similar to you. But at the end of first semester, I was like, I need to, I cannot be kicked out of U of T. I need to, pick up my momentum and ace my second semester. So my SWIKE would have been, my SWIKE would be to be in good books of the professor, such as going and asking questions, making a bond, so that when you're towards the end of a semester and you just have one grade point from a higher GPA, then you can just request them if they can make an exception to increase your grade and bump you up. Uh, but gradually, I also started changing my study techniques, and I read over different study techniques and adapted to the concept of mind maps. I
Mm.
found it very fascinating because it helped me absorb and connect the links between topics, between interconnected topics, and it always helped me remember it for longer time.
Mhm.
And along with that, I also try to take an example based approach wherein I would try to relate each concept with an example, with a real life example, so that when the question arises in the test, I can connect it and correlate it to the example and recall it quickly. So those were my two swipe for studies in the first for studying in the first semester, first year.
Cool. I think for mine, it's yeah, similar where yeah, I didn't do so well. I think I did the same thing where there was a intro to computers course that you had an option to take, and then there's kind of the more advanced one that you could take. So I opted for that one, which most people now it's mandatory to take the intro one. But I thought I was super smart and I could do it, and I ended up yeah doing horribly in that. I think I just barely passed. I think I didn't build good relationships with the professors and stuff of that, so I probably could have got a higher grade if I did connect with them. So yeah, oftentimes just be careful when if you're trying to like bite off more than you can chew. So just be reasonable about that. So you can prove yourself, but at the same time, this might not be the times. So on your thing on mind mapping and stuff, one of the like the recommendations I had for folks would be to learn how to learn, right? Because I thought I knew how to learn, right? Because I was smart and whatever, but I wasn't as smart as I thought, right? And one thing that I've found recently over the past couple of years is that most people like a lot of learning starts with memory, right? Can you remember whatever it is? And I always thought I had an okay memory. It wasn't that great, and some people just had a great memory, like the photographic memory, whatever. But I found that it's not whether you have a good or bad memory; it's whether you have a trained or untrained memory. And most people have an untrained memory, right? So in the past couple of years, I've been trying to train my memory, and had I done that in first year, it would have made second, third, fourth year, and then the rest of my life so much easier. And there are techniques like memory palaces and like linked lists and like the mnemonic alphabet and so many different things that if you just take that and apply it, and yes, it takes more effort to do it initially, but then you learn it so that when you're taking your midterms and you learn it, you don't have to review it multiple times for your finals and then for second year and third year because you truly learned and understood the material, right? So I'd recommend folks to learn how to learn. So take a look at all those different resources and know that you can learn, right? So the growth mindset, adapting that would be adopting that would be helpful. And then the second thing, which we didn't really touch on, is to actually take the time to explore, right? And saying like, is what you thought you wanted to do with your degree actually what you want to do, right? So I went computer science, so the natural thing is that you're going to be a developer, you're going to be a coder, right? I ended up getting into consulting, which I never even thought of, I never even heard of in fourth year, but I just kind of stumbled into that role by pure luck, right? But had I known about it, well, maybe I would have tried for it and made more of an effort. But yeah, most people are very kind of tunnel vision on what they can and should do with their degree. And what I recommend folks to do is go connect with alumni, right? People who did your degree and ended up doing the job you want, right? Do they like it? What is it about they like? And are they kind of similar or are they different than you? And connect in that way. And ideally, if you can get some work experience and like internships or part-time jobs or co-op or whatever it is in those, then that'll be a better indication. But at least you can have coffee chats, and especially nowadays with social media on things like LinkedIn, Facebook, or whatever, it's quite easy to connect with folks. And usually, if you approach folks the right way, then they're more than happy to help, to jump on a Zoom call, to have a coffee chat, assuming they can meet in person, that sort of thing, in order to share their experiences. But yeah, you have to present yourself in a way where you want to be learning and growing from that person. So those are the two big ones that I'd have for folks, is to learn how to learn, and then to actually explore in terms of what do you actually want to be doing after you graduate. So yeah, especially in your first couple of years, you're still figuring stuff out. At least I was. Some of you might know exactly what you want, but yeah, and if it is, then just be better at that and continue down that path. So
That's a good learning experience.
cool. I think we covered a lot of topics, and hopefully there's some useful insights for folks. And yeah, hopefully we'll have more things, because we're just in kind of first year, and I'm sure we'll have more things to talk about in terms of the university and college experience, and get your insights for the student corner. So yeah, thanks for connecting today, and then hopefully we'll have more interesting insights and conversations for the next session of the Student Corner. Thanks for joining us on the SWIKE Stuff I Wish I Knew Earlier, the podcast. If you like the podcast, please subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you found this podcast. And if you can give us a review, that would be very appreciated. Feel free to contact me on LinkedIn at Luki Danu, LUKIDANU, and the same on most social media platforms. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. Bye.